Hey guys, welcome. I am really glad to be part of this amazing conference. I'm here from Brazil and I can tell you how much I was expecting this moment to share with you some of my experience, some of my knowledge about cloud computing and especially about hyperscale. So my name is Vitor Fava, and I hope you enjoy our session today. Okay? Please, if you have any questions, if you would like to know more about our topic, about hyperscale, or about cloud computing, or about artificial intelligence, please do not hesitate to reach me, to contact me. You can send me an email. You can try to find me on Telegram. For sure, I'll be more than happy. I'll be extremely glad to help you, to talk to you about all those technologies that I'm going to show you today, guys. Okay, so come on, let's go. So, guys, the topic that I have here today to discuss with you is about how we can go faster, how we can improve our performance, how we can let our database faster using Azure SQL database on the hyperscale service tier. Okay, so our idea today is to discuss about this and how you can implement this technology, how you can implement that feature. And I'm pretty sure that you are going to love this. You are going to use this every day. You are going to see how you can implement hyperscale, how this could help you. And be sure that if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach me. Okay? So what I have here today to discuss with you guys. First of all, I want to talk to you about SQL database, but just a brief introduction, just a brief history about what is SQL database, why you need to know about it, and if you didn't have the chance yet to use that, to implement, to do some provisioning, let's do it today together. Okay, let's do it together, and you are going to see that it's real quick. It's really easy to implement that, and wow, I can tell you that you could use SQL database, you can use Azure to provide great and awesome solutions for your clients. So after that, I want to talk about what are the service models that we have on Azure, how we can do some provisioning, how we can configure our databases on SQL database on Azure. And after that, you already have a knowledge about what is SQL database. That is very important. You also know about the service model, what are the differences between a DTU model and a VCore model. After that, you are ready to know about hyperscale. You are ready to implement a SQL database using a hyperscale service tier. And let's do it. I would like to show you, and I want to do a great demonstration for you guys. Okay, I want you to know what is hyperscale and how you can use that on our environment. So let's do it. I would like to just share my contacts with you guys. So my name is Vitor Fava. As I told you before, I'm based in Brazil, in São Paulo, Brazil. I have a data consultant company here in Brazil. The name of the data consultant company is Vida Database Solutions, and we are experts here in Brazil to work with data projects. So if you need any help, about cloud computing, about migrate your on-premise environment to the cloud. If you would like to have some data analytics solution on your environment, your company, don't hesitate. Send me an email. You have my email there. It's vitor.fava@vitadbsolutions.com. Please reach me, contact me. Let's talk about. I'm pretty sure that I can help you. Not only I have the knowledge, but I have a great team working here with me, and for sure we can provide you the best solution for your company. Okay. I'm also an MVP, guys. MVP on two different categories. I'm an MVP on data platform since 2016, and I'm also an MVP on AI category since 2019. So I want to thank you all for that, because it's your fault, guys. It's your fault that I have these awards from Microsoft, because if you were not able to help me, I will not able to deliver all these sessions. I will not have any motivations to do that. So I'm really glad for you guys to help me, and this is just a small piece of knowledge that I want to share with you. And again, don't hesitate to reach me if you need any help. Okay, you can also follow my blog. You can also follow my YouTube channel, where I have a lot of videos about data, about SQL Server, about Azure, about artificial intelligence, data analytics. So if you would like to know more about this amazing data world, please go check my YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure that you love it. And I have a Telegram group. You have a QR code there. If you would like to join, please do. Please don't mind if you are not a Portuguese speaker. Not problem at all. For sure, I can help you there, and we have a lot of people there that can help you on an English base. So don't hesitate. Just join and let's talk about data. Okay, let's talk about data, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready to know more about Hyperscale? I hope all of you are really excited as I am. You can see that I'm really excited to talk about that topic with you today, guys. So let's do it. The first thing that I want to discuss with you guys is a brief story about SQL database. So guys, SQL database is SQL Server on the cloud. Okay, so SQL database is one of the database services that you could use, that you could create a database on Azure. At this moment, we already have SQL Server, we already have MySQL, PostgreSQL, we have some Mongo, we have a lot of database service supported on Azure. And a SQL database is a SQL Server service on the cloud, okay, on Azure. So the idea here is that almost everything that you could do, that you could build on an on-premises scenario. Hey Vitor, what is an on-premises scenario? So an on-premises scenario is a local environment. If you have a SQL Server instance installed and configured on a local server, on your company, on a room that you have access, it's an on-premise, right? An on-premise environment. So on an on-premise environment, you are responsible for configure everything from the scratch. You are responsible for install Windows on the server, configure Windows, and then you are responsible to install SQL Server, configure SQL Server, define all the volumes that you want to use on that server, and so on, right? Go on with all those configurations. But if you are interested to use the SQL Server service, but you don't have space, or you don't have a lot of investments to build a local data center, you can build your solution, you can build your service, or as we like to talk, you can do some provisioning on the cloud. So you can create a SQL Server database on the cloud, right? And then you don't need to be worried about your infrastructure. For example, you don't need to be worried about how much disk do I need, how much CPU and memory, and you don't need to install a Windows. You don't need to do anything related to infrastructure configuration, right? You have everything inside SQL Server on Azure. And this is amazing. This is great. First, it's really easy. It's real quick to do some provisioning on a SQL Server on the cloud. It's real quick. I'm going to do that with you guys. You can do it with 4 or 5 steps, and then you already have a SQL database configured on the cloud, so you can already use that. And almost everything, not 100%, but let's say maybe 90% of all the features that you have on an on-premise solution, you also have on a cloud solution. So almost everything that you could build on your premise, you can build on your Azure SQL database. But one thing that is really important, guys, I can tell you that it's one of the most important things that you need to be aware when you are working with a SQL database, when you are working with SQL Server in the cloud. And this is the tier that you are going to choose, okay? The tier that you are going to choose. What I want to say about that. So when you are building, when you are installing, and you are planning, configure an on-premise database, you need to think, okay, how much CPU do I need? How much memory do I need? How much disk do I need, right? Those 3 resources are really important, are very important to your SQL database, okay? Especially CPU and memory. And when you are working on the cloud, you also need to pay attention on how much processor power do you need on that database. It's not exactly the same. There are a few differences here. For example, when you are installing on-premise SQL Server, you can define how much memory do you need. For example, Vitor, I need 64 gigs of RAM, and I need a server with 4 CPUs, and I need maybe 1 terabyte of disk. When you are working on the cloud, you have 2 options to choose, to configure, to define how much processor power do you need. And those are the models that you have right now on Azure SQL Database. You have one model where we call a DTU model, and you have another one that we call a VCore model. Okay, so first thing that I want you to think about when I talk DTU, it's an acronym to Database Transaction Unit, and it's important for you guys when you think about DTU, please don't be crazy trying to convert a DTU. Hey reader, one DTU, how much memory and CPU I have inside one DTU? Please don't worry about that, okay? I have a tip for you. You can do this analogy, okay? If you have a car, how you can measure the engine power of a car? You can use horsepower, right? Oh, this engine has, I don't know, I'm not so good with cars, okay? 1,000 horsepower, right? When we talk about DTU, it's the same thing, it's the same thinking. If you have more DTUs, you have more processor power inside your SQL database. If you have less DTU, you have less processor power on your SQL database, okay? And one of the greatest things that you can do on Azure is one thing that we call a scale up or scale down. What is this, Vitor? Please explain to me. So you can increase your processor power anytime, any moment. You can also decrease your processor power anytime, any moment. So Vitor, why I would like to do that? Because on Azure, you are paying for the resources that you are allocating, the resources that you are using. For example, if you are creating a SQL database and you choose to use 100 DTUs, you are now paying for 100 DTUs. But then you start to monitor your SQL database and then you realize that you don't need 100 DTUs. Your database just need maybe half of that. 50 DTUs is more than enough. 50 DTUs is more than enough processor power for your workload. So Vitor, I'm paying for 100 and just need to use 50. Yeah. So you can decrease your DTUs and pay only for what you are going to use. And the same way you can do it a scale up. If you have, for example, 20 DTUs and you start to monitor your SQL database and then you realize, 20 DTUs is not enough. Maybe I need 100. You can just scale up. You can just configure your SQL database to use 100. Okay? And guys, this is amazing. This is awesome. You can do that anytime. You don't need to stop your database, right? You can just go on the portal and configure your new DTU, right? And then after a few minutes of provisioning, you already have the resource there. If you start to think on an on-premise solution, imagine you have a server with 64 gigs of RAM, and then you just realize that 64 gigs is not enough. You need to double that, but you don't have any physical space. You don't have any memory slots on your server to increase your memory. To do that, you now are going to need to start a new project. You need to go on market and check for a new server. Now you need to buy a new server. Then you need to configure a new server, and then you need to install SQL Server, and then you need to start to migrate all your database from the old server to the new server. Wow, a lot of work, right? Maybe 1 month of work. And here on Azure, on a SQL database, on a cloud-based solution, I will show to you how you can do it. You can do that in maybe 10 minutes, maybe 1 or 2 hours, instead of spend 1 month of your time to do that. It is not amazing? It's amazing, man. I have chills when I think about that. It's really, really cool. So the first model that we have is DTU. And one thing that is important here, guys, please pay attention here. Let's take a look on this diagram. When you work on a SQL database, you need compute, or what I mean, it's processor power, and you also need storage, right? You need to store your information, store your data. If you are using a DTU model, and for example, you need to increase your storage, now you could have a problem, because to increase your storage, you also need to increase your compute, your processor power. See here, guys, if I need, for example, go from this storage to this, I also need to go from this compute power, this processor power, to this one, right? They are tied up. You are not able to increase your storage without increase also your compute power. Okay, and okay, Vitor, this is not intelligent. This is not so good. Yeah, I agree, guys. I totally agree with you, because it's more common for you to increase your storage on a database solution, right? Because your data is always growing, your database is always growing, and maybe you don't need to increase your processor power yet because you have a bigger database, but you are not going to read all that information. You're going to read maybe 1 or 2 tables, so you don't need to increase your processor power. You would love to just increase your storage, right? Yeah, guys, yeah, I'm totally aware about that, and I agree with you, and Microsoft also agrees with us. So this is why Microsoft, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they just started to work with a new model that we call a VCore model. Okay, so a VCore model, it's really easy to implement. Here you have more control about how much CPUs you would like to have, and you also could increase your compute without increase your storage, and you can also increase your storage without increase your compute. See, you can, for example, you have that SQL database, you can just left the database here on this compute and only increase here. You can just, for example, put the database here with more storage without the need to increase your processor power. It's pretty cool, right? It's pretty amazing, right? Don't you agree? It's awesome, guys. It's amazing. Okay, let's do a quick demo. Let me create a SQL database using the DTU model. Let's go, guys. Here I have my, let me just do that. Here I have my dashboard. Okay, so this is my Azure dashboard, and to do some provisioning on a SQL database, you just need to go there or here and then select SQL database. Okay, so let's do it. SQL database. Guys, pay attention, guys. Come with me, and let's do that together. Take a look how much time and how complex it is to create a database, a SQL Server database on the cloud. Take a look. Let's do it together. Let's do it. I will create a SQL database here. Oh, okay. And then I just need, first thing, I need to select my subscription. I will use my Azure sponsorship. Or maybe, yeah, I can use my Visual Studio one. Let's try to do that. I also need to create a resource group. Guys, what is a resource group? A resource group, it's a way for you to organize services that are related to a specific project, for example. For example, I can create a resource group here for DPS, and everything that I'm going to create that is related to our session today, I'm going to create inside this resource group. Vitor, it's like a folder. Yeah, you can think about that. It's like a folder. And it's really cool because if you need to grant some permissions and you have a lot of items inside this resource group, you just need to grant permissions on the resource group. And everything inside this resource group you start to have the same permissions. Okay, so I'm going to create a new one on resource group DPS, and then I'm going to create a database. Let's do that. I will create a DB DTU to show you how you can create a SQL database using a DTU service model, right? Here, guys, the server. I don't have any server, so I'm going to create one, right? Why I need to create a server? Because I need to select where is the location of this service that I'm going to provide, okay? And I have a lot of options here, and I'm going to create that one here in Brazil because I am in Brazil, guys. So I'm going to find South America, Brazil South. So I'm going to create this server here, okay? And I'm going to use a server name. Let me see if I can use that one, DPS database. Oh, the name is already in use. No problem at all. Let's try to do it Hyperscale. I will create a server called Hyperscale DPS. Oh, I cannot use Hyperscale DPS. Okay, Hyperscale DPS. I'm going to use login and my password here. Let's do it, guys. I love to show you everything live. So this is a problem because some demos, they are not going to work very well if you just decided to do it right now, but I'm pretty sure that we are lucky today. So let's do it. So guys, I'm creating my server. So let's do it. Okay. And then, guys, I need to select here. What is the compute? What is the service model that I would like to use? And let's do it. First, I'm not going to use the VCore one, okay? I'm going to use, let me see here. Oh, let me do it here. I'm going to use, see, I'm not going to use yet the VCore. I'm going to use the DTU, right? So when you are working with a DTU service model, you have three tiers. You have a basic, you have a standard, and you have a premium. We can compare that to the SQL Server editions that we have, right? You have the first one that is free. It's SQL Server Express. You have a lot of restrictions about performance, about hardware support. So this is the same idea here. If you are going to use DTU service model on the basic tier, you have only 5 DTUs. It's really cheap, and you can use that for small clients for sure, but you don't have a lot of options to work. If you would like to have something higher but not so expensive, you can use the standard service tier, right? And if you want to have the best one for high IO intensive workloads, if you have a critical environment where you have a lot of things happening, if you have maybe thousands or maybe millions of transactions per second, for sure you would like to use the premium one, right? Let me show to you the first one, that is the basic, and you can take a look here. I don't have a lot of room to work, right? On the basic, I only have 5 DTUs, and my database, the max size for my database, it's 2 gigs, right? And here, guys, I have how much I'm going to pay. Here it's on my currency, that is Brazilian real, right? So it's not so expensive, okay? It's not so expensive at all, right? But again, guys, I don't have a lot of space to work, so maybe I would like to start with a standard one, okay? And here you can see that I can increase my DTUs. See, I'm going to start with 10, and this is something really interesting. Take a look here. Right now, if I just started to configure this SQL database, I'm going to use 10 DTUs, and my database, my max size for my database, it's only 250 gigabytes, right? It's really small, okay? Really small. Vitor, if I would like to, and this is awesome, but I have a database that's bigger than that. 250 gigabytes, it's really small for me. Why I'm not able to increase that? Because remember, on a DTU model, to increase your storage, you need to increase your DTUs. And this is the bad part of that, guys. If you are going to increase your DTUs, you are going to pay more for that. Take a look here. I'm going to increase my DTUs to 20, 50, 100. And now you can see that I can increase my database to 1 terabyte, right? But it also increased the price. My estimated cost, my monthly cost, it's now higher. As I told you, and this is a problem, right? I don't need 100 DTUs. I just need 1 terabyte of disk space. So this is a problem because you need to increase your DTUs. And even more, okay, Vitor, if I need more than 1 terabyte, you can not do it on the standard one. See, you are not able to do it on the standard. If you need to use more than 1 terabyte, you for sure need to go to premium, right? And also increase here your DTUs. And then you have the option to go to 4 terabytes. But my friend, the price is really high. And again, I don't need all those DTUs, but on that service model, this is how it's going to work. If you need to increase your storage, you need to increase your DTUs. And that's a problem. Yeah, that's a huge problem. And I can tell you more. If you also need more than 4 terabytes, for example, if your database has now 5 terabytes, you cannot use DTUs at all, because 4 terabytes, it's right now at this moment, right guys, at this moment, and I love to say that, and I must say that for you, because Microsoft is always improving SQL database on Azure, and maybe in the future, maybe in 1 day, or maybe in 2 months, 1 year, I don't know, maybe when you are watching my session in the future, you don't have that anymore. You don't have that limit anymore. But until now, and you can see that on my screen, I'm showing that to you right now, you can only have 4 terabytes on a DTU service model. Okay, so let's do it. I will create my basic one and I will going to apply, right? I'm going to use locally redundant. I'm going to everything is okay. Review and create. Awesome. I have everything here, guys. See again, it's not difficult at all, and I will just click and create. Now I have a validation and my database, it's now being deployed. It's now being created on my subscription. Guys, it's awesome, right? With 4 clicks, 4 options, in maybe 10 minutes, I'm going to have a new SQL database done and created for us to use. Okay, but we have that problem, right? We have that problem. And let me show you when I'm just waiting for my database to finish. Let's create a new one. Let's create a new one and take a look on the VCore service model. Let's take a look. I will just start here, create. It's always awesome to have a coffee, right? And let's do it again. I'm going to create on my resource group DPS, and that database I'm going to call VCore. I'm going to use the same server, but the server is still being created. Let's await for a few minutes, guys. So let's await for that to finish, and we are going to come back in a few minutes, okay? And we are back, guys. Now we already have our server created, so let's continue from there. DB VCore, and my server is here, right? Hyperscale. And let me show you how you can configure using the VCore model. So configure database. Here on the VCore model, I have also 3 tiers. The first one is one where you can have a good performance, but not the best one if you have an IO intensive workload. Okay, so this is the general, right? On the general, you have 2 options of tier. You have a provisioned and a serverless. Provisioner, guys, it's really important because on provisioning, your compute resources are pre-allocated. What that means? That means that if you are going to create a SQL database on a general using a provisioned compute tower, and you are using maybe 40 cores and you are using right now only 20 cores, you are going to pay for 40 cores. And this is totally different if you use serverless. Serverless, you just need to show your minimum and your max core, and you are going to pay what you are using between this range at this moment. You are billed by per hour, okay? So if you create a SQL database with 40 VCores, but you are using now 10, sometimes 50, sometimes 20, you are going to be billed by the total amount of VCore that you are using in 1 hour. Okay, this is really interesting. Okay, guys, take a look here. And then when I choose provisioned, I have the option here to select how much VCores I would like to use. I can go to 80, right? It's a lot of, and also I can work with 4 terabytes of space. And here I don't need, and I'm going to show you, I can increase my max size, right? I can increase my max size without the needs to increase my VCores. Okay? So I don't have a lot of money. I will just select 2 VCores here. And you can also change your hardware configuration here. I'm in Brazil, so I don't have a lot of options here. I can use generation 5, and I can use another one that is the FS series, right? And here we have some difference. You have one of 80 max VCores. You have another one with 772. Then how much you are going to pay for that. But one thing that I want you to pay attention, it's again the max storage. I only have 4 terabytes, okay? And this is going to happen, guys, even if I select general or if I select business critical, okay? Even if I select everything, the max data that I could use is 4 terabytes, okay? But guys, this is totally different if you are using Hyperscale, okay? Let me just create this one here, and I'm going to use a general one because I don't want to pay a lot of that. Okay, yes, let me do that. And I'm going to, let me see, I confirm, I'm going to apply, and I'm going to select locally, I'm going to create that. Let's see if I can do it here or not. I don't know if I'm going to be able to create on this subscription. Maybe I'm going to need to change my subscription. While I'm waiting, I'm pretty sure that this is really fascinating, right? So let's talk about Hyperscale. So Hyperscale, it's a new service tier on the VCore model, okay? Hyperscale is a new service tier on a VCore model, and it's really scalable when you talk about storage and compute performance. It's amazing, guys. One of the best things that you could have, it's that on Hyperscale, your database could have 100 terabytes of space. Whoa, Vitor, really? Yes, 100 terabyte of space. It's a lot, right? Yeah, it's a lot. So, Vitor, let me see if I understood that right. On DTU model, I'm not able to increase my storage without increasing my compute power. Yes, this is true. On the VCore, I'm able to select how much CPU I would like to use, how much cores I would like to use, and I can also increase my storage without increasing my computer power. Yes, this is true. Amazing. And the problem with those two models until now is that they are only supporting 4 terabytes of database size. Yes, if I have a database that's bigger than that, I can now use the Hyperscale service tier. Yes, Hyperscale, it's a service tier inside the VCore model. So on VCore model, you have general, you have a business, and you have Hyperscale. Okay? Hyperscale. This is awesome, right? And on Hyperscale, you now could have 100 terabytes of database size. Wow, Vitor, really? Yes. And it's not only that, guys. Take a look here real quick on the Hyperscale architecture. You can also have some replicas. You have your primary database, and you can configure secondary databases where you can redirect your read workload. Wow! So I can have a database with 100 terabytes, and I also can configure replicas for that database, and I can redirect my users, my applications to use that replica. Is that what you're saying, Vitor? Yes, is that what I'm saying, guys? It's awesome, right? I'm going to show it to you that right now. You can also take a look here and understand why Hyperscale is so great about performance. Because on your SQL database, you have something that we call data cache. So inside each of your SQL database, you have a data cache. With that data cache, you don't need to read your disk every time. But it's not only that. You have a cache on your compute nodes, but you also have another item here that are the page servers. So before you need to go and check your information on your disks, you also have a page server. You have a copy of some pages here, and most of the time when your user just select some page, and if that page is not here yet, you have the possibility to read from here on your page servers, and those caches are SSD disks. They are really fast, guys, really fast. So pay attention. You have like two caches. Yeah, you have the first one inside your compute node, you have the other one on your page server, and if your page is not here, then you are going to read the page from here and copy the page from here, and then copy the page from here to here. So it's really, really, really fast. It's really fast, right? Let's take a look. Let's create one, guys. Ooh, okay, we already have our server here. So take a look. I have two models, right? I have one basic on DTUs. I have another one that is VCore, and I'm going to create another one with you guys. Let's do that. And that one is going to be on a hyperscale tier. So this one is DB hyperscale. And here on my compute storage, remember, hyperscale is a service tier inside the VCore model. So I need to be here on the VCore model. See, on the VCore model, and then I'm going to select hyperscale. Let's do that. Hyperscale. And if you take a look, I don't have the configuration about my disk size, right? Because I don't need that. Now my database can grow until 100 terabytes of space. Okay? But one thing that is really important, guys, one thing that's really important, and you have a warning here. If you are configuring, if you are defining your SQL database as a hyperscale service tier, you are not allowed to change that anymore, okay? You cannot change from hyperscale to general or to business. You can do that if you are configuring your service tier as a business and you start to see that it's really expensive. Remember, you can work with the scale down and you can go to the general. But if you were just selecting hyperscale, you are not able to do that, right? You are going to use hyperscale forever. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to create that one, and I'm going to use just 2 VCores, and I'm going to use just 1 replica, guys, just 1. Okay, I can have 4 replicas until now. Maybe again in the future you could have more, but you could use 4. I'm going to create just 1, and I'm going to, and for sure guys, you are going to pay for that replica, right? You're going to pay for that. I'm going to click on apply, review and create, and whoa, let me see, basics. Oh, I forgot to select that one. Okay, review and create, guys. And I'm going to await that to finish. And when that's finished, we are going to come back and test that, guys. Okay, guys, we're back again. So our database, it's already created. Let's take a look on that. Let me go to my SQL database and show to you guys. So right now I have one SQL database. On DTU I have another one that's using Hyperscale and another one that is using general purpose, right? General purpose. So let's connect on our server. Let me just go here, and I'm going to configure my firewall so I can just add my IP address at this moment, so I'm going to be able to connect. Okay, let's just grab the server name, that is that one that I need here. That's the server that I need, and I'm going on my management studio, and I'm going to connect that SQL server and my user, let me show to you guys here my user, my password. So now I'm connected on my server, and guys, here we have our database. And again, it's awesome for your application. It's totally transparent. You don't need to be worried, oh Vitor, what I need to change on my application to have all the benefits to use Hyperscale. You don't need to change anything, guys. You don't need to change anything. It's totally transparent. Okay, let me show to you. I'm going to connect here on my Hyperscale, and I'm going to create a table. Let's do that. Create table person. When I have my person ID and identity, and I have first name, there is a Parker varchar 100, and that's it. It's created, guys. And if you take a look here, oh sorry, this is the database. Our table is here. Okay, I'm going to insert a value here. Insert person. Okay, sometimes it's pretty bad when you have another tool here, right? Values, and then I'm going to do mine, and I'm going to use let me do just my wife and my mother and my father. Okay, I'm going to do some inserts here, and see, it's totally normal, right? I'm using the read-write replica, guys. I'm using the read-write replica. Okay, Vitor, but if I want to use the read-only replica, how can I do that? You just need, guys, to change. Let me show you. I'm going to connect again, and on your connection, on your options, here you need to use application intent equal read only. So this is, let me see if I think I'm missing one here, if I'm not wrong. Let me just double check here if I'm writing right. Let me check, guys, if I'm okay. I think yes, I think I'm okay. This is totally right. So this is what you need to do to use the secondary replicas. Okay, you need to change your connection parameter and say to management studio, or if you were using an application on your connection string, you need to say, hey, I would like to connect on the replica. So let's do a test, guys. Let's do a test. I'm going to just connect here. Now I'm just disconnect and do from scratch for you guys. So again, on my options, I have here application read only, and then I'm going, and then I'm just to be sure, I'm going to, okay, I'm going to select my database here, DB Hyperscale, and I'm going to connect, and I'm connected right on the Hyperscale. And guys, take a look. I'm going to open a new connection here, and again, I'm just copy that one here. I can select everything, person, right? Here's my table, but let's test that. Let's see if I'm able to do an insert. See, I'm not able to do an insert, guys, because right now, let me do that here. Right now, I'm connected on a read-only database. Whoa, again, right? This is amazing, guys. This is awesome. Take a look. You have now a SQL database where you can use 80 VCores. You can have a database until now you could use 4 terabytes, but now you can use 100 terabytes, and you can also use replicas to read. A read-only replica. Man, this is amazing, guys. This is awesome, right? This is awesome. I love this feature, guys. I love this feature. Okay, guys, I hope you love that either, right? And I want to give you an advice. I always like to say that on my sessions. First of all, I want to say congrats for you. I want to say congratulations for you to be here, investing your time to learn something new. I am more than glad, more than happy to be part of that on your career. And this is something that I always like to say. You are the master of your career, right? If you're working with something that you don't like right now, you can change that. You can always improve your knowledge. You can always learn something new. You can always be better. So be better, okay? If you're working with something that you don't like, just change that. You are the master of your career. Right now, you are investing your time watching my session. I hope you love it, you like it, and you had the chance to learn something new that you can use on your day to day, on your daily basis. Okay, guys, again, I would like to say thank you, and please, if you have any questions or any doubts, if you'd like to know more about cloud solutions, artificial intelligence solutions, SQL Server migration, please do not hesitate to reach me, okay? My consultant company is based on Brazil, but for sure I can help you outside Brazil. I already have some clients outside Brazil, and I'm more than happy to help you. I'm totally available to talk to you. Those are my contacts. Here you have my WhatsApp number, right? You have our contact email. So please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach me. I hope you enjoyed our time together. I love it. I love it. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your understanding. I hope I could be real clear about that. And sorry if I said something wrong. I'm always trying to improve. My English it's work in progress, guys. So thank you again. I love it. I really appreciate your time. I hope to see you again soon, and be extra careful with your family. Be safe, and I hope everything is going to be fine in maybe a couple of months. Thank you, guys. I hope to see you soon. Have an awesome conference. Bye.